All right. What's happening in Niners Nation? John and Tim and Brian, my brother from another mother. Let's talk some Niners. If you got a chance, leave a review, give us a like, subscribe. But hey, how we feeling today, Zim? How we feeling?
I think we are officially in what you and I have discussed. We are in the sports wasteland. We
Yeah.
have absolutely nothing until August when we're all going to get excited about preseason football.
And then
So,
realize preseason football is actually not that
isn't really
good.
all that good, but it holds us over just enough.
Just enough.
So,
Brian, how
so,
are you doing today?
so baseball doesn't cover your interest, Tim?
At this point, it's on in the background, but what is there to get excited about? There's the All-Star game. Okay, I'll watch that, but we're not in any deep pennant races right now. Yeah, it's just
I get it.
after the NBA Finals, as we've discussed in the past, we all start. Well, who I mean, we. I start counting down the days to training camp, and get very excited when somebody like Fred Warner shows up and
And,
unpacks the stuff and goes into his room.
and how many days is it to training camp, Tim?
Oh, I think we're just over 30, 40 maybe.
All right.
I don't have the exact number. You stumped me, John.
I apologize. Anyway, from Tim, let's start talking. The subject of this show is season 23 schedule and the season outlook. So, Tim, let's just start with some big picture stuff from 1 to 10. How you feeling about 2023?
I think like last year, take it one game at a time. I think the only comment I'll make is I don't know if the 49ers want their fans to be in the best of spirits come the holidays, or maybe the NFL doesn't want the 49ers fans to be in the best spirit come the holidays because the 49ers are playing both Thanksgiving night and on Christmas Day. So there's going to be a lot of families in the Bay Area throughout Niners Nation. They're just going to have to reorient their Thanksgiving dinners, their Christmas dinners, and maybe a lot of holiday cheer.
And they're also playing on New Year's Eve too. So we got that going on.
It's like the
Yes.
triple crown of alcohol consumption. Brian, how are you feeling from 1 to 10 about 2023?
It can only get better from last season. So I'm feeling positive. I'm thinking it's an 8, maybe 9. Make the playoffs. Could we be a Super Bowl contender? Yeah, most definitely. But are we going to win it? I don't know. We'll see. But I'm feeling good. Positive.
I'm feeling 8-ish. Yeah, I'm feeling 8. I feel really positive. There's just a lot of returning guys. There's some rookies I really want to see. There's some guys, who are going to step up, I think, in their second year. We'll see how Brock Purdy does, but I'm feeling pretty good. So we'll see. Well, let's start talking 2023 season. We'll go through the games as we do. Our first game up, which is always for me one of my more nerve wracking games, just because we really never know how these teams are going to be. It's against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and last year we had the debacle in Chicago. The year before that, we almost gave away a 28-point lead in Detroit. With Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin's always got a good team going. We're gonna have a solid D. It's away, but they're 9-8. I think this is gonna be a tough one. We'll see what happens with the Niners, but I hate the opening week. It's just really tough. You know, like everybody seems a little out of sync. It's just not ready yet. It's like preseason 2.0.
I think the opening game for me is a little more exciting. I don't think I'm as despondent as you are, John, but I do share your memories of the monsoon in Chicago, the almost debacle in Detroit. And like you said, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're a well-run organization. They're always going to be, I know that last year was an off year for them with Roethlisberger being out for the first time or retiring rather. So yeah, but at the same time, it's something to get excited about. And the only thing that always worries me and worries me every year about the 49ers is injuries, which is why I think every Niners fan holds their breath in training camp. Every Niners fan holds their breath during preseason. It's like wrap the team in bubble tape. We don't need any more injuries, injury-filled drama. We've had our share these past several seasons.
Yeah, who's their starting quarterback? Is it Pickett or is it this new guy?
It's Kenny Pickett.
Yeah. Okay.
He's a second year player who might be pretty decent. I mean, Pittsburgh doesn't have a ginormous offense, but they're gonna. Mike Tomlin just doesn't coach a bad football team.
No, he doesn't.
So then we get into, and this schedule's a little strange. We get into the Rams. We go from Pittsburgh to LA. And LA was 5-12 last year.
But let's be honest, John, that is Levi Stadium South. So let's throw that up as a home game.
Okay. Brian, you've been to SoFi Levi South. Is it Levi's 2.0? Levi South?
Well, it was for the NFC Championship game 21, 22. So yes, it was. It's, they attract a lot of, I think it's going to be it's just like Vegas. They attract a lot of people from out of town who go there. They didn't have a football team for a number of years. So they have a lot of people from LA who either became Raiders fans or Niners fans or remained as Rams. But yeah, I mean, when I went into the NFC Championship game, I'd say 60% of the crowd, 70% of the crowd was Niners.
My favorite part of the NFC Championship, just prior to the NFC, of course, the Rams beat the 49ers, was the Rams quarterback wife pleading with Rams fans, please do not sell your tickets to 49ers fans. So I think when you have to do that, you have a little bit of a team that is really struggling to get a following in Los Angeles. So
yeah, and so you'll see Matt Stafford come back, but the Rams, they lost Jalen Ramsey. I don't know how much Aaron Donald can keep going. The Rams look a little bit to be more on the rebuilding side of things this year. Kyle's kind of had Sean McVay's number for a while, so this is not a game I'm feeling too stressful about, just because of the past history.
Their offense is normally just Cooper Kupp, so as long as you can contain Cooper Kupp and then watch the running game, they'll be pretty good. I mean,
or at least slow him down.
Yeah.
So then we go home for our home opener against the New York Giants. It's the first, I think it's the first Sunday night game that we have. And
Thursday night.
Oh, my apologies. Thursday night game. So it's a quick turnaround, but the Giants have to come much farther than the Niners do coming up from LA. Yeah, the Giants had a decent year last year. Definitely overperformed. They were the 6th seed or 9-7. In a decent division. But it's with their quarterback, Daniel Jones, you just kind of wonder how high up that guy can really get. And of course, they have the Saquon Barkley issue. But I think a quick turnaround here, it's just really rough on the Giants, really, for them to get going. So I think this is a pretty good start here for the Niners, facing the Giants. Tim?
Yeah, I think if you look at the schedule, and I'm going to skip ahead, I think the first real test for the 49ers, if they're going to be a contender this year, will be against the Cowboys. It's a Sunday night game, national TV. It's going to be a rematch of the divisional playoff from last year. Cowboys fans will be out in force, and there'll be a lot of speculation in the media of just how good the Cowboys are, as because John, Cowboys going to the Super Bowl.
Always.
So we'll pay attention to what Stephen A. Smith from ESPN says prior to the game, but that'll be the first, I think, true test, because you're coming at that point, you're in early October, teams start to emerge, players start to emerge. So we'll I think at that point, you will get a good feeling as to whether the Niners are really going to make a run for the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Just one thing on the Giants, their week 2 game is they're going to be in Phoenix playing the Arizona Cardinals. So they're probably going to stick around in the area. And then hopefully, and I'm assuming they're going to come over there. They're playing the Dallas Cowboys on opening day. That's their opening day match. So they're going to be all fired up for that in an NFC East matchup. But I think, they should be, and the Niners should win their home opener against the Giants, no doubt.
Any thoughts on the Cowboys game?
I mean, I think it'll be just like the playoffs. We'll have their number. So no, I don't see ourselves to be concerned in any way. Dak Prescott's always decent. He's always pretty good. So, he'll probably put up something, but I think our defense will find a way, and our offense should pick it up too.
Yeah, the only thing I see with the Cowboys is just the revenge kind of game. We took them out of the playoffs
Twice.
Yeah, twice.
years.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
if they, I mean, yes, there's the revenge factor, but they also had a chance to do that last year. So
Yeah, no, I know, but I mean, maybe third time's a charm. Anyway,
third time could be the charm. Yeah, I understand. But
you know, there's nothing like a sad Cowboys fan. By the way,
who's
if you're-
sorry now?
Cool, and then we head off to Cleveland,
Oh wait,
rock
you
and roll
skipped
capital. of-
week 4 against the Cardinals. Do you have any issues, any concerns with that one? They're playing at home against Arizona.
Well, brand new coach. We'll see what Kyler Murray, if Kyler Murray emerges as a player I thought he was going to be. You know, and mobile quarterbacks are always a problem for the 49ers to contain. I mean, Russell Wilson, of course, drove us crazy. Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, you know, anytime you have a mobile quarterback, they can just extend plays. And that's a problem for any team, but it has always been a problem for the 49ers, it seems.
You know, he tore his ACL,
Yeah.
so you know
Mm.
who knows how he's going to look. You know,
Yeah, I don't think the Cardinals are going to be very good this year. Just because, like you said, torn ACL, they lost D Hop, new coach, you know, Kyler Murray coming off that ACL. I don't think they're going to be very good, but you never know. I mean, they weren't supposed to be very good with the Colt McCoys, and they ended up boat racing the Niners. We'll see.
And just for the record, John, you really can't blame John for skipping ahead. I was the one who skipped ahead. I got excited about talking about the Cowboys game. So, you know,
are you guys
blame me.
Are you guys going to prognosticate wins and losses here on this? What do you,
No,
no.
we do not do predictions. That's one thing to all of our listeners. We don't do predictions. They're just
Predictions
bad.
are the work
They're
of the
just bad.
devil.
Yeah, they're bad luck. We're going to leave it with that.
So
All right.
anyway, back on subject. So yeah, then we head off to Cleveland, and the Browns are an enigma wrapped in a riddle because Deshaun Watson looked positively awful last year, but Deshaun Watson before that was amazing. So, you know, the Browns. I just don't think the Browns are going to be very good. I don't see Watson getting back his form. I think this is going to be one of those things the Niners just kind of roll in, take care of business. And then they actually, I think the Vikings might actually be yet another test.
We also have to throw in another obvious thing about Cleveland. It's Cleveland.
Yeah,
It's one of the most cursed sports cities on the planet, if not the most cursed city on the planet. The drive, the fumble, Red Right 88, Cleveland moving.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan hitting the game winner, that jump shot against the Cavs, the 88 NBA playoffs. The list goes on and on.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Do you ever think the people who built the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ever scratch their heads and go, maybe we got this one wrong?
no, because they keep charging people to visit.
Oh, I shouldn't say too much about Cleveland. We do have family there, so. But I don't think you can argue with the fact they're cursed. I'm on
No,
record
you
saying that.
Well, you know, you can see from my Steph Curry stuff back here. I got the 2016 NBA Finals on my mind, so they got that one. They slipped that one in, but yeah, you're right, Tim. They did blow the 2016 World Series. The Cleveland Indians did, so that happened.
The 2016 NBA Finals, I think you mean.
No, the Cleveland Indians blew well, yeah, I was talking about the finals first, and then
Oh,
same
excuse me.
year,
Okay.
the Indians blew they had a 3-1 lead also. against
Oh,
the
also
Cubs.
true. Also true. Yeah,
So,
also
yeah,
true.
they blew
Also
that
true.
one.
I stand corrected. Yep.
Well, let's just agree that it's hard to be a Cleveland fan. So, I mean, there are like 50-year-old men who haven't seen an AFC, like a champion of anything other than
Well,
the
the
Cavs.
Cavs. They got the Cavs. Yeah.
Um,
Every now and then, God says, "Here, have one."
When was the last time the Browns won a football game? Was it back in the 80s?
Won a football game?
No, I'm sorry. A
No,
playoff
okay,
game,
yeah,
playoff
we
game,
said they're
playoff
cursed.
game.
We didn't say that. Yeah, play. Oh, I don't know the last time they won a playoff game.
I think Jim Brown was on it.
A playoff game? No, it's
Oh,
more
playoff
recent than
game.
that.
No,
Playoff
Baker-
game.
Baker Mayfield won one.
That's
for 'em.
right. They did. And they lost in the divisional round. That was the 2020 year. They lost in the divisional round of the Chiefs, where I think, frankly, I know we're getting off topic here, but I remember watching that game and they were tied, or at least the Browns were in the game, and Baker had a chance to drive him down the field in Arrowhead and establish himself. And when he didn't do that, I thought his time was going to be up in Cleveland.
Well, now he's in Tampa Bay, so
Yes.
there you go.
Yeah, some shoes
Uh,
to fill there for a certain quarterback.
yeah, but then they travel north and they're playing the Vikings, which is actually a stadium I've always wanted to go to because it just looks really cool. But we'll have Kirk Cousins, who obviously Kyle Shanahan really
Coveted.
likes for a long time, coveted.
And certain media also thought was eventually going to be on the 49ers, but we won't say the name.
Fuck you, Jim Kawakami. But Brian, what are you thinking about the Vikings? I mean, they won the NFC North last year. That's going to be an interesting division because you've got Detroit, which is ascending. The Bears, you never know. Green Bay, obviously Jordan Love, but the Vikings have been pretty steady.
Yeah,
You know,
when I think of the Vikings, I think of that game they had against Indianapolis, probably the second to last game of the season,
oh,
where Indy was
poor
up
Jeff
big.
Saturday.
And I think that was one where the Niners, they were scoreboard watching that game, obviously, because they needed. Yeah. So then that just comes to my mind. I think they've always got a chance. I don't know what's going to happen with Dalvin Cook. I think there's thought that he may leave, but he's always a great player. You can always kick some butt.
Well, they've already released him. I don't know if they
he
have
got
him come
released?
back.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think they'll be tough.
But I do think, if you were to ask, if I was to guess, I wouldn't think Vikings would be the number one team in the NFC North at that time. I would think probably Detroit. Everyone's picking Detroit as kind of the new team that's ascending. So I'm kind of leaning towards them being maybe number 2 in that division at that time.
And then we head home and we face
the Bengals.
Who I actually think is the Bengals. And I'll be honest, out of all the quarterbacks that I've seen, there's Patrick Mahomes on his own level, but Joe Burrow is an amazing quarterback. And he is one of those guys that can just find a way. And this is another test for the Niners here. They'll be at home, and they've beaten them before. Obviously, Brandon Ayuk had an amazing game where the Niners almost blew it. Some of us turned it off.
Who might you be referring to?
That would be you, Tim.
Of course it was me. I was in a parking lot watching the game on my phone. Robbie Gould misses the field goals. I just like, that's it. Never watching this team again. I didn't go full on Gamecast, though. I will say that. I did just eventually, after 5 minutes, calm down. Well, I'll just see what they're doing.
Oh, just check in on this.
I'll just check in. And I see Nick Bosa make the sack and Bengals kick the field goal, and then we all know what happens. The Niners drive down the field. Ayuk makes a spectacular play that had to be reviewed, but it was a touchdown, and the Niners get the win.
Yeah, but this game could be like the KC game last year, where the midpoint of the season is right before the bye. It's at home. The Bengals are a good football team. They're not KC. But this could be one of those tests for the Niners of like, how good is this team? And this is a team that scares me. They've given the Chiefs all they can handle. They're the only ones who have been able to beat them and take the Super Bowl. So I think this is going to be a tough one for the Niners to beat the Bengals. So yeah, then we get into what I call Christmas in whatever damn month we're in, because I can just sit back and actually just watch football with no stress. It's the old bye week. It's like, hey, we can actually just enjoy football. But then we go play the Jags. Again, a team that's up and coming. When we played them before, Trevor Lawrence was not very good. They had a very good college coach, a very bad pro coach. But, they're going to be playing at the Jags. This is one that I don't really know about because they could be pretty good. Because they did well last year, 9-8, number 4 seed, won the AFC South. But they could also regress. And, Doug Peterson has done it before, but it's the Jags,
And they also have a certain general manager that Niners fans remember, and not for good reasons. And that, of course, is Trent Baalke. So anytime you have Trent Baalke as a GM, you don't have a lot of faith in your team. I still remember the pain, Trent. But I
All
will
right.
say they did make the playoffs. They did score what I consider an upset over the Chargers. Then went into Kansas City where I thought they're going to get blown out. They lost 27-20 when Patrick Mahomes went down. So yeah, I still think with Trent Baalke he will find a way to screw it up.
Well, can only hope. 'Cause he's
We'll
on their
see.
side now. All right, then we come home. We face the Buccaneers, which could be led by Baker Mayfield,
Baker Mayfield.
or it could be led by somebody else. What are you thinking about the Buccaneers?
They did have an 8-9 record. I could see them not being there. I'm trying to think who else is in the NFC South. So that would be like the Saints, the Falcons, Carolina,
And the Panthers. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't see the Bucks being the number one team. I think that should be a team we should be able to beat. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards a win there. Yeah.
Is Baker Mayfield still doing insurance commercials? I haven't seen a good
No.
Baker Mayfield.
No.
Okay. I guess that's what happens when Cleveland drops you.
Exactly. And then
Oh boy.
when the schedule was released and we looked at it, and I was talking to my family at dinner time, and I saw a certain team up north playing on Thanksgiving Day. The collective groans around the dinner table were loud.
Not just Thanksgiving Day, Thanksgiving night.
I can't think of a worse time for them to play the Seahawks than on Thanksgiving night.
Yeah. No, I have friends who live on the West Coast and they're Seahawks fans and they're good Seahawks fans, meaning they can talk football. And they were also lamenting about the same thing. Says, well, hey, at 5:15, we sit down to eat dinner. You guys have it lucky. You're on the East Coast. I'm in the Virginia. I mean, how are we going to I'll be watching the game on my phone in my lap, just saying, if my wife asks me, I'll just be bowing my head in prayer the entire time, wincing, grunting, cheering, whatever. So
Brian, are you going to be doing this? Because you're on the West Coast. Will you be iPhone and lap?
Yeah, it'll be something like it'll be on in TV, in the background. I think we're actually gonna go away for Thanksgiving at my mom's house. So knowing my mom, she will have the game on in the background. So I don't think we don't have a separate dining room. That's not where the TV is. So it'll be on, but probably the volume will be down.
Well, I can tell you the volume's going to be up. The potential for a complete game wrecker of a Thanksgiving is very high on the list.
I know Seattle. That's the team that scares me. Geno Smith last year. If you had told me that with Russell Wilson leaving, that Geno Smith would come in and perform not just well, but be NFL comeback player of the year, I would have said you're nuts. I thought the heart and soul of the team was Russell Wilson, and they were going to have a big drop off. But give credit where credit is due. Pete Carroll is a great coach, not only to the Seahawks, but at SC. And Geno Smith, give him credit. He had a great year. Maybe he has a sophomore slump, but I'm not counting on it. And they've got a slew of draft picks that I think are going to fit well in. They're going to need some time to season. But Seahawks are definitely a team on the rise, in my opinion.
Yeah, Pete Carroll always coaches them up.
Yeah.
You go back to the
did I hear somewhere about like Geno Smith potentially not being the number one guy in Seattle? I don't know if you heard that.
I have not heard that.
Yeah, maybe something on KNBR.
Yeah.
They were just kind of chit-chatting about, but yeah, something that did come up.
I mean, I think the Seahawks have to look for the future in terms of quarterbacks, but I don't see anyone starting for the Seahawks besides Geno, unless, of course, there's an injury.
My guess is Grant Cohn was probably floating rumors around. So then the Niners head east to my neck of the woods out in Philly, and they play the Eagles in a rematch of the NFC Championship game. And honestly, I know the Philly fans around here are expecting another Super Bowl, but I am going to warn Philadelphia that getting back to the mountaintop is really hard. And you did something the Niners did when they last went to the Super Bowl. You got rid of a really good defensive tackle and you brought in a rookie. And that didn't work so great for the Niners, losing Defoe, and getting Kinlaw.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's going to work for the Eagles. Now, the Eagles are loaded. They've got a great quarterback. I love Jalen Hurts. I've been a fan of his since he was at Alabama. AJ Brown, I watched him when he was at the Titans against the Niners. He's electric. But man, getting back to the mountaintop is tough. So I do not think the Eagles are going to be as good as they were last year. Um, I think you'll see a little bit of a slide there. I think the Niners are going to come in pretty fired up. As you've seen, now we're starting to get into the last quarter of the season. And Kyle Shanahan, the last 3 years, has done a really good job of getting these guys to start to peak towards the end of the season. And this is when I think you'll see the Niners really start to roll. And they're going to have a long week coming off of Seattle, and that's going to be a tough game. But I think the Niners are going to have a little revenge game here against the Eagles.
No, I was going to say, no doubt they'll be fired up for it. I think it's going to be another key game. But here's the thing with the Eagles. This will be a tough one for the 49ers to win. It is in Philly. It's a tough place to play. Hurts, again, mobile quarterback. He can just make things happen. The 49ers, actually, if you look at the defensive stats in the NFC Championship game, really did hold Philly about as well as I thought they could have, despite having no offense, no quarterback. But I don't know. I see the Eagles somebody pulling this one out, but I don't think it's a deal breaker for the Niners by any stretch of the means. I think the Niners, if they are making a run, can't afford to potentially lose this game and still rebound by the end of the season and put themselves in position for at least a 1 or a 2 seed.
Yeah, this might actually be I mean, it could be. I'm predicting that they're going to be that good, but logically, you could say it might be a battle between who's going to get the 1 seed.
Yeah. And we cut off Brian, so we got to go to him.
Yeah, I do think it is that is probably a game most of the Niners are probably circling. Like, they want this one back. They want to run it back. And considering the way things ended last year, I do think that they're going to be really focused on this game. All players, CMC, Debo, Purdy, they're all going to be fired up for this one. And I do also think, John, as you were about a slide, I do think that's going to happen for the Eagles. To what degree? I'm not sure. But you're right. It is hard to maintain and sustain. The only one I think has been able to do that over these last couple of years is KC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, then we get to what is kind of the end of this juggernaut of the games, which is another game back at home against the Seahawks. Which again, it's going to be a tough one. Seahawks always play the Niners tough. And I think depending on what happens on Thanksgiving Day, could be a revenge game for either team.
Well, it's a divisional game. At this point, you're probably fighting for the division crown. So the 3 of the last 5 games are divisional opponents. So it'll be a typical Seahawks 49ers. They know each other very well. That's what you get when you play in the same division. You've played each other for so many years. So yeah, I expect a battle.
Yeah, let's give over the Cardinals. We don't really feel like giving the Cardinals very much love today. And let's talk Ravens. Now,
Christmas Day.
The Ravens?
Christmas Day.
Christmas Day.
Christmas night. Another meal that we have to work around.
It really is a triple crown of holiday Niners. So Christmas Day, Lamar Jackson, now officially a Raven for a good long time now. They got Odell. J.K. Dobbins is coming back. The Ravens have always been, I always thought, mostly overhyped because in all of the time that Lamar has been there, he's won 1 playoff game. Now, Lamar is watching Tecmo Bowl 2.0 or Mad 3.0 when he plays football. He's amazing. So what's really going to be interesting this year with the Ravens is their new offensive coordinator and how he's going to utilize Lamar, maybe similar to how the Eagles use Jalen Hurts, because if Lamar starts to be able to pick you apart and open up the middle and then use his legs, that's going to be a dangerous football team. Thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. Again, national TV audience, Christmas night. Niners have trouble with mobile quarterbacks, and Lamar, presents that challenge.
Oh, I was just thinking. I'm just thinking back to that game. I think when it might have been the 2019 season, we were playing the Cardinals, and the Ravens, and Lamar just picked us apart at the end. And
I remember the 49ers
Yeah.
had a chance. The 49ers went for it they had a last possession. The 49ers had a chance to potentially win the game. It was a fourth down. The 49ers missed, and then Lamar Jackson does his thing. They go all the way. They run down the clock. They ran all the way down. It took the winning field goal with just a couple seconds remaining, and the Ravens won. But I came off that game, even though it was a loss, I really, at that point, it felt like the Ravens were one of the top teams in the league, and the 49ers had been down for a while. And what I remember taking away from that game was that the 49ers were legit contenders, because I think the next week they played New Orleans, and that was the one where it was an offensive fireworks spectacular. And that was the one. But I think the 49ers got confidence out of that game, and that set the stage for their run in December that eventually landed them in the Super Bowl.
So, Tim, as our resident Commanders participant, how are you feeling about facing an Irish team?
The only thing I can tell you about the Commanders right now is everybody's asking, when is the sale going to happen? I don't hear anything about draft. I don't hear anything about opponents. When is the sale going to happen? Dan Snyder, obviously not beloved in the Washington, D.C. area. He's run the franchise into the ground. So the only shame of it is that the 49ers will have to spend their New Year's Eve at FedEx Field, which is the worst stadium, I think, in the NFL. So, yeah. That's we can probably skip over Commanders. That's, or at least for me, because that's like the only thing I can tell you about them.
It's funny, Tim. I always ask you about going to whenever the Niners are playing the Commanders or the Washington team, and you always refuse to flatly go. And obviously you've told me why, but I didn't know the disdain or like how crappy that place was.
Yeah, it literally there's it's a horrible place to get to. It's right on the Beltway. There's only a couple ways to get in and out of the stadium. The traffic is terrible. The stadium literally is falling apart, and it's just, then you have this owner who is driven the franchise into the ground. So there's nothing enjoyable about going to FedEx Field, and I mean nothing. On that, I've had my Commanders rant. Go ahead, John.
And then we end the season. Last game of the season is at home facing the Rams. Who knows at this point where the Niners will be? We've kind of talked about the Rams already, just kind of be rebuilding. So I think it's just one of these that could be the Niners are locked up and everybody's kind of like just not getting hurt. Or it could be the Niners got to win this one to get the number 1 seed or make the playoffs. I mean, you never know. But it's a good way to finish. I mean, when they had that epic comeback to make the playoffs 2 years ago, let's just hope we don't have to go through that again.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a pretty good look at a 2023 schedule. So there's some good stuff on the schedule. For me, honestly, football on Christmas is awesome. I'm no longer 9 years old. I get some presents. And then I wonder what I'm going to do with the rest of the day. So football on Christmas is awesome.
It also allows you to have a distraction from other family obligations that you're supposed to go to, or at least you can go to a family obligation and turn on a television and just say, "Hey, I'm watching, football," and you can be off and do that. So every year, I always look at the holiday games like, all right, how are we going to get through the holidays this year? Good. Christmas is on a Sunday or a Monday, or it's in the weekend. So that's always a plus. When Christmas is on a Wednesday, things tend to go wrong.
So this is for Brian. Might be a good thing for Tim and I. It's kind of quasi good. So there are a lot of primetime games. Now, that's good because I know that I can watch them. That's bad because if the Niners lose a primetime game, I find it hard to go to sleep.
Or if it goes down to the wire and you're so jacked up, you cannot go to sleep. So
I'm
yes.
the same as you guys. I will think if we lose, I will think about it all night.
So, I looked at the strength of schedule and I was a little surprised. We have the 15th ranked strength of schedule this year, which in all fairness is kind of always looking in the past because there's going to be teams that are going to be better than they were the year before. And there's going to be teams that aren't going to be as good. The Seahawks could be really, really good this year. The Eagles could be not so good this year. Pittsburgh could be really good this year. So you never really know. But I thought, that fact that we were, the number 2, that we actually got the 15th ranked strength of schedule was pretty good.
We'll see. I mean, what has tripped up, as I said before, what has tripped the Niners up in the past has been injuries. I mean, last year we literally ran out of quarterbacks at the end of the year. And before that, I mean, Jimmy G had gotten hurt, but continued to play. But yeah, can they stay healthy? I think that will be the biggest question.
Yeah. So then we got to go on to bad shit. And honestly, I think Thanksgiving is completely ruined. I
unless they win.
Well, yeah, but the lead up to the game, it's at 8:30.
Yeah.
So I get to spend all of Thanksgiving going, how do you think the Niners going to do it? Jim will be with me because he always comes for Thanksgiving. And it'll just be a stress fest. You have another glass of wine, sure, I'll have another glass of wine. Another glass of wine, sure, I'll have another glass of wine. And it's just going to be stress fest the entire time.
Well,
it's
you'll also
my
be
wife's family will be.
You'll also be full of food.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Just crazy land. Oh,
I'm just thinking to myself, for Thanksgiving, that's going to be at my mom's house. So she's a huge Niner fan. Christmas, I'm going to be at my in-laws' house. So I got to figure that out. So I guess I'll be watching it on my phone, kind of like what you guys do. Maybe I'll put on Gamecast. I don't know. So,
well, hey, if they win and it's on Gamecast, you're gonna have to watch it on Gamecast.
It's only weird if it doesn't work.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting, and this could be an NFL thing that you guys might know that, but I don't, is that the division games are really late in the schedule.
Well, the NFL did institute a scheduling requirement a few years ago that the last game of any season will be against a division opponent. That's been in the works for some time. So it doesn't surprise me. So last year we finished up with the Cardinals. This year we're finishing up with the Rams.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So this was besides Thanksgiving being ruined, I thought the real bummer was they're playing at the Jags. The Jags are like the quasi-London team, and the Niners are a marquee franchise. They own the lead soccer team. Like, why aren't they going to London? That would have been such a cool trip.
That was a surprise. I really, for the reasons you just said of why the NFL decided not to go with the 49ers to London, but instead we're playing. But they made it up to us by playing on Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Eve.
Yeah, the triple crown of holidays being ruined.
Yes.
oh, man.
Cool. Well, that kind of wraps up the schedule. So we have to finish like we always do with shit we bought on Amazon this weekend. I bought this new webcam right here, which has way better quality than my Mac Air thing over here. So that was my big purchase. Brian, what'd you get?
I got a slew of items this week. I bought a Ethernet cable that's long enough to connect to my router. So that seems to have fixed my issue. I bought some air filters for the house. I bought some life straws just in case. I don't know if you know
What's a life straw?
So, like if you happen to be camping and then you need to drink some water, a life straw is a device that purifies like even a stream, like you can drink out of a stream and you can drink that water. So I kind of figured something for the emergency kit. I don't know if you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd recommend it.
Well, if we see you like face down in the ditch with a straw, I'm a little worried about you. It really works. The Gatorade station's like down the trail a bit.
Oh man. Yeah. And wait, what else did I buy? And I bought headphones for my daughter for her iPad. Yeah, and that appears to be it. I did spend a lot this week with Amazon. So
yeah, that's a big Amazon week.
It was a big week.
All right, Tim, last week you had really the most interesting order, which was floss and oatmeal. What do we get this week?
Well, I didn't want to stop with the floss trend, John. So I did buy some Oral-B Precision Clean Replacement Rechargeable Toothbrush heads for my electric toothbrush. So we're keeping the teeth theme going.
Good job.
Outstanding. Outstanding. And I also, let's see, what the other thing I was on the list, sauce scrub. With
you don't use those on your teeth. Just
no, but they do come. It is soft scrub with bleach. So,
Oh, well,
there I go. Exactly.
Like
Your
What, a
your
stovetop
smile
cleaner?
is just shining.
It's a cleaning product, guys. Cleaning product.
Is that the one for your
Cool.
stove? Am I thinking that one?
It's for your bathroom. It's for your shower. It's for your, yeah.
Mm, good.
All right, guys. Well, that wraps up the 2023 season outlook and schedule review. I think the Niners have a pretty decent schedule. I know Tim and I are thinking about going to the Pittsburgh game, which is about 4 hours away for both of us, and we're definitely going to the Cardinals game. Brian, do you have any games that you're looking at going to?
Yeah, probably gonna go to probably not that New York Giants game, but maybe the Arizona Cardinals game, the first one, the second game of the second game at home, and then maybe I'm trying to look at the schedule. The Cincinnati game would be pretty epic to go to. So
Yeah.
I think I might save my tickets and go to that one. The other ones I'll probably sell since we're also going to that game in Phoenix in late December. So yeah.
So, Tim, now that Daniel Snyder's not the owner, will you go to the Commanders game on New Year's Eve?
No.
It is a 1 p.m. game.
All right.
No.
Well, on that note,
Well, yeah, I will be at home with my nice big screen television surrounded by Niners gear, maybe having, a glass of wine or maybe a cocktail, some good food, and the NFL in front of me.
well, on that note, it's time to sign off. Next week, we're going to be looking at the 2023 offense and looking players that we want to watch out for. And on that note, Tim, Niners. Brian.
Niners. There you go.
All right. We're out. Later, Niners Nation.